call someone else.
When you're seeing things and they don't look good, busting that doesn't make you feel good. Hi, Adam from The Damn Right Show, and today I will be revisiting the 2016 Step in a Strange Direction Paul Feig's Ghostbusters. Rest assured, this isn't a women-hating review. This is just a look at why it's a flawed attempt at rebooting a beloved franchise. Let's start with the director Paul Feig. I am a fan. Heat, Spy, Bridesmaids, they're all some of the top comedies of the 21st century, and I really mean that. Part of the problem was it appeared that he put too much pressure on himself to try and make the film funny. Looking at the original Ghostbusters, they could be seen as mostly comedy, but there was more of it than a dosing of science fiction, horror. This film went for an all-out comedy approach. Paul Feig, even from the movies I just mentioned, has a history of success with all-female casts, which is probably why he shouldn't have been the person to helm this feature. It was way too much of a Paul Feig version of Ghostbusters, rather than Ghostbusters by Paul Feig. There is a difference, but I won't insult your intelligence by explaining it to you. The issue with an all-female cast is it sounds gimmicky from Jump Street. Live-action Disney, spoken in a dead language, musical adaptation, all of these are buzz terms. From an audience standpoint, it seems like the movie won't be objective, but it will twist itself to the image of the gimmick. I liked Ocean's 8, but again, it suffered using that all-female tagline. Here's the thing, had they had 3 females and 1 male Ghostbuster, I contend that it wouldn't have had such a significant difference in the perception of the movie. It would have made a significant difference in the perception of the movie. There will always be men that stand against feminism or female empowerment or equality, and those people tend to have very loud voices. When the movie was announced and cast, it already had me on weary ground because of the gimmick. The cast didn't inspire too much because 2 of the people were from Saturday Night Live, a show that I don't really watch. In fact, there are plenty of SNL alum within the movie to the point where it can again be seen as gimmicky. People accuse the trailer of being dislike bombed by quote-unquote 4chaners and Redditors, and I'm sure that there is something to that, but at the same time, it was a bad trailer. It was very cartoony, very slapstick, and very loud. I saw the movie in the cinema, so I did drop coin on it in case you were wondering. There were long-standing rumours of a Ghostbusters 3 that the original cast continued to drop in and out of interest for. Audiences can sell their Ghostbuster 3 light in the form of Ghostbusters the video game that features the original cast back together. The true Ghostbusters 3 died alongside Harold Ramis in 2014, who starred as Egon Spengler. The cold opening was great with Zach Woods from The Office in Silicon Valley getting attacked by a ghost in a museum, which later gets nullified when he both survives and is all done to make a shitting his pants joke, because the film can't help itself. Let's talk about the Ghostbusters themselves. The first thing to note is they are not gender-swapped versions of the OG Ghostbusters, though they did follow the pattern of 3 white and 1 black character who had no science background. Some say that the character played too far into African American stereotypes, but you be the judge. Actress Leslie Jones suggested that she was just a regular person, and PBS suggested a lot of the hate could be racially motivated, which is a bit of a stretch considering that Ernie Hudson's Winston Zeddemore received none of this criticism back in the original. Kate Mckinnon was a revelation in this movie with her cool and exciting performance. Problem was, it didn't fit in with the movie. Mckinnon has found success in other movies and TV shows that are far more tailored to her ability than shoehorning her energy, because I suppose the director was a big fan. Melissa McCarthy and Kirsten Wiig feel particularly subdued in their performances, which is disappointing because of their track records. They both have the same role as the science character, but have a mini feud as their only source of character development. They are no Frasier and Niles. Chris Hemsworth was worthless to the point of insulting. It seems like a play on the idea of sexualizing the idiotic secretary from things like The Producers, which feels like it would be funny and subversive had this trope not died out decades ago. Neil Casey plays as the villain, who hates the world because he is not standoutish enough and has tapped into a way to summon ghosts. What a terrible, terrible excuse for a plot motivation. Captain America Civil War kind of had a similar plot, but with a seemingly normal man with a grudge almost had the Avengers kill each other. This ain't that. There is no memorable villains like Vigo the Carpathian or Zool and her hellhounds. Instead we have Rowan. Again, I think this was supposed to be part of a joke. Jokes. The biggest crime of the movie were its jokes. There were more than one or two good jokes in the movie, but 3 or 4 out of 100 don't really mash up in terms of statistics. Whether it was the Dean that kept giving the characters the finger that took up way too much of the screen time, the ongoing idea of Chinese food as a running joke in the frequent dance sequence or bombastic reactions, this movie was tone deaf for a Ghostbusters fan, and the Ozzy Osbourne character was straight out of hell. Another issue was the characters' lack of fear. The characters were never particularly excited at the discovery or afraid of ghosts. This earth-shaking discovery of life after death is simply treated like it's no big deal. Yes, part of the joke of the original Ghostbusters was they were basically glorified exterminators, but in this they almost act like they've seen it all before and it's just another day. Technology was annoying for me in particular. Early on the team ditched the classic proton packs and opt for ever-adapting technology that they seem to magic up from moment to moment. Handguns, knuckle dusters, bear traps, all stemming, I imagine, from some thought that it would be cool. It would be like if Jurassic World, they said, the audience have already seen dinosaurs, let's give the dinosaurs swords and guns, or what if this time we have a Terminator Satan, or what if this time our zombies in this movie are 8 feet tall. The original Ghostbusters aren't without their flaws. The party scene at the end of Ghostbusters 2, which I imagine is more than a little to blame for all of the dance sequences in the movie, and the ghost blowjob dream. But the movies are still great in spite of some bad decisions. This movie is bad in spite of some okay decisions. I suppose the real deciding factor would have been a sequel. Like many TV shows, the first few episodes aren't that strong, and it's only when you sync up with the wavelengths can you really go back to appreciate the first few episodes a little more. Alas, the sequel was cancelled after being labelled a box office bomb, where it was suggested due to the heavy marketing, the movie may have lost around $75 million. Critical consensus was mixed because there is plenty to like if the film had been its own original IP, but standing next to the heavyweights of its predecessors, it was always going to be fighting from behind and did not do itself a whole lot of favours in the process. I still contend that the Suicide Squad was a better Ghostbusters film than Ghostbusters, and Suicide Squad was far from hitting its own targets. Ghostbusters Afterlife, directed by OG director Ivan Reitman's son Jason, is the next film in the franchise, reverting back to the original universe, and the characters once again reprising their roles. My guess, having seen the trailer without them in it, is that they will more likely be glorified cameos, similar to what we saw here. I am intrigued to see the movie, but can't help but feel from the trailer that it looks like it'll be pretty slow and kind of boring, but I look forward to finding out either way. In summation, I felt that the problem with the movie was with the otherwise great Paul Feig. He was steadfast in following his typical tropes, and due to his track record there was no reason for people to think it could go wrong. They were then hit by a wave of fan outrage and more than a dash of misogyny to the point where the movie got way too political before it was even released. My sympathy goes out to the actresses involved, as they certainly worked on the project to a high level, but they were making chicken salad out of chicken shit. They then, and possibly still to this day, have to weather the shitstorm of outrage from the movie that it incurred when all they did was sign up for a dream project and do their best. That's it for another Bad Movie Revisited. Who you gon' call?
Damn right, Joe!